Jack, a young man discontent with his new job, reluctantly boarded a train bound for a city where he was to assume his new position. His heart was heavy with dissatisfaction, and he secretly wished that he would never reach his destination. However, circumstances forced him to accept the job, as he needed the money desperately. As Jack stepped onto the weary, slow-moving train, he couldn't help but notice its dilapidated state. It was the only train that traveled to the remote village he was headed to. Exhausted, he found a seat and settled in for what he hoped would be a swift journey. But fate had something else in store for him. The train rumbled through the dark tunnels, the only source of light being the flickering bulbs overhead. Jack's unease grew as the train plunged deeper into the unknown. The air grew thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the distant sound of metal grinding against metal. Suddenly, the train came to a screeching halt, trapped within the bowels of a pitch-black tunnel. Panic surged through Jack's veins as he realized they were stranded. Fear wrapped its cold, bony fingers around his heart, squeezing tightly. He peered out the window, but there was nothing to see except impenetrable darkness. As minutes turned into hours, strange occurrences began to unfold. Whispers echoed through the carriages, barely audible yet undeniably unsettling. Jack's pulse quickened as he glanced around, searching for the source of the eerie voices. The other passengers seemed oblivious, lost in their own worlds of sleep or distraction. Shadows danced on the walls, contorting into grotesque forms that seemed to mock Jack's growing terror. Unseen hands brushed against his skin, icy and intangible. He tried to rationalize the events, blaming his imagination or exhaustion, but deep down, he knew something was horribly wrong. In the midst of the darkness, Jack's senses heightened. He could hear whispers growing louder, filling the air with malicious intent. An overwhelming dread washed over him as he realized he was not alone in the suffocating darkness of the tunnel. Apparitions materialized before his eyes, ghostly figures in tattered clothing and contorted faces. They wore expressions of agony and despair, as if trapped in a perpetual nightmare. Their eyes bore into Jack's soul, accusing him of some unknown transgression. Desperation gripped Jack as he tried to escape the clutches of the vengeful spirits. He banged on the windows, screaming for help, but his pleas were drowned out by the haunting whispers that grew louder and more menacing. The spirits drew closer, their spectral forms reaching out towards him with ethereal fingers. In a final act of desperation, Jack closed his eyes, clutching onto a glimmer of hope. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the train jolted back to life. The darkness gave way to dim, flickering lights, and the train moved forward once more. The apparitions vanished, leaving Jack trembling in his seat. With a mix of relief and trepidation, Jack arrived at his destination, the city he had begrudgingly accepted a job in. He stepped off the train, his heart heavy with the weight of the supernatural encounter. The memory of the haunting would forever linger in his mind, a reminder that there are forces beyond our understanding. Jack couldn't help but wonder if it was a warning, a twisted reminder that sometimes, the path we choose leads us down a road far darker and more dangerous than we could have ever imagined. The shock and revelation of that fateful journey haunted him, leaving him forever changed. I remember it like it was yesterday, the night I boarded the train to a remote village nestled deep within the heart of the forest. The train itself was a relic from another era, its worn-out exterior and eerie atmosphere foreshadowing the horrors that awaited me. Fear began to creep into my heart as I embarked on this ill-fated journey. As the train chugged along the tracks, the dim lighting and creaking sounds created an unsettling ambience. The howling wind outside seemed to carry whispers of long-forgotten secrets, heightening my unease. I glanced around, and that's when I noticed her, a young girl, sitting alone in the corner, her face etched with terror. Curiosity got the better of me, and I cautiously approached the girl, trying to offer some comfort. But as I drew nearer, her screams pierced the air, chilling my soul. The other passengers, equally frightened, gathered around, their faces pale with terror. The girl's cries were filled with an otherworldly quality, as if they were not her own. Suddenly, the girl's voice changed, taking on a sinister tone that sent shivers down my spine. She spoke of forgotten sins, of a darkness that clung to her very being. My heart raced as I realized there was a connection between myself and the malevolent spirit that inhabited the girl's body. A sense of dread washed over the passengers as they grappled with their own fears, paralyzed by the chilling presence before them. We were trapped within the confines of the train, a vessel of horror hurtling towards an unknown destination. As the journey wore on, the girl's voice grew more powerful, more commanding. Her words revealed glimpses of a dark past that intertwined with my own. The passengers, tormented by their own dread, couldn't fathom the depth of the evil that surrounded us. The train screeched to a sudden halt, its wheels grinding against the tracks. The doors swung open, revealing a desolate landscape bathed in an eerie glow. The girl, no longer restrained by the boundaries of the train, floated out into the night, her body engulfed in a sinister aura. In that moment, a realization struck me like a bolt of lightning. The spirit that possessed the girl sought not only vengeance but a vessel to continue its reign of terror. And I was its chosen conduit. The girl vanished into the darkness, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unspeakable horror. To this day, I bear the burden of that nightmarish encounter. The girl's fate, the train's destination, and the true nature of the malevolent spirit remain a haunting mystery. The boundaries between the living and the dead have blurred, and I am forever tormented by the knowledge that a darkness I can neither comprehend nor escape resides within me, waiting to claim its next victim.